correct?
Yes.
So my question is, if we're having 36 meetings in a given year, I'm a little uneasy with the unfamiliarity with how money's being spent and where it's going.
And how much you have?
Wouldn't we, and how much you have? I have a question about that in the sense, I know, I run a business. I know where every dime is going. I watch it every single month. I'm a managing partner. So I'm sure that the fire district, and you gentlemen, and the fire chief, has an idea where things are going each and every month. I'm sure that it's not operating in a vacuum. So when questions are asked, or I read a newspaper article that, quite frankly, I found astounding, and created a great deal of unease for me. It would lead anyone to naturally question, not questioning anyone's honor or whatever, but it would lead me to question, well, we run a $2 million budget for our police department. It runs fantastically. We have an excellent police force. We couldn't handle a $400,000 fire budget? I have to question that. And I'm not questioning the value of the fire district. I'm sure there is a value in it. It's a question of where we are at this point in time in our municipalities, in our state, and what we have to deal with, and what we eventually have to pass back to the taxpayer.
Rich, we were given a copy of their treasurer's reports and every check that they've written. I mean, I don't know what else.
No, but that's not my point, Mayor. I see what checks were written. I was given that information by the chief, and I appreciate that. What I have an issue with is, if we're having 36 meetings a year, we should be more familiar and be able to answer more directly what we're doing. That's my point.
I also want to point out, as far as the leadership.
Can I just ask?
Wait, hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
The bill list is from the company, correct?
Yes.
Which one?
What you provided us with respect to.
You'd have to show me which one you'd have to show me which one you were looking at.
So we have a copy, John, of all their checks.
Right, but that's the company.
These checks, this is
No, this is the district.
That's the district.
That's district.
This is district.
Those checks are
the
district
entire
stuff.
year?
You'd have to ask Mr. I think they're
Is
labeled
this what you
by
brought around on Friday to everybody?
month.
On duty?
A couple of people
I had
asked me for it, and I provided it to them.
I mean, one of the things, we're spoiled up here because we have a chief financial officer who's a full-time chief financial officer. For a long time, the borough did not have a full-time chief financial officer, and a lot of people questioned, the prudence of having a chief financial officer because of the cost that had to be incurred by way of salary and benefits. But we do have a chief financial officer, and if we have a question, we could go to Colleen Lapp and say, Colleen, could you give us a printout of every expenditure from the beginning of the year till today, and could you give me a breakdown by way of line item key to our budget? And we're able to get that. I mean, so we're spoiled. And I'm kind of accustomed to seeing that type of detail. And I would join with Mr. Diver in this idea that we haven't seen that type of thing. And I don't know whether or not it doesn't exist. I do know that your auditor has said that your records comply with general accepted accounting principles. So I don't have I'm not going to be judging that one set of books is better than another set of books, but I mean, I'm taking our responsibility under the statute pretty seriously, and I really feel kind of handcuffed with respect to the lack of information. And so,
John, what other information do you want?
well, I've already asked. I'd like to see the 2010 budget detail, the 2010 vendor history, and the 2010 revenue report, detailed revenue report.
Would the vendor history not be? No.
All that information is compiled and it's at the auditor's office now, completing the 2010 budget. We don't have an auditor that comes to the office.
Right, I
And sits
understand.
down and does it like.
So timing is bad, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
All of the 2010 material is at the auditor's office, and that's to be distinguished from the accountant. The accountant can't do an audit.
Right. But the auditor is now the custodian of your records.
Right now, the auditor has the records for all of the records for 2010.
Would not the vendor history be on these checks?
You know,
You don't
everybody
give
here
them a
has,
copy?
everybody
You know,
here-
yeah, I was gonna ask about the copy.
Can I just point out that everybody here has a bank account? And let's say, me and my husband and I, we all spend differently and spend some money, and at any time I can go down to that bank and I can say, give me a list for last year of all transactions that happened.
We have
And
that.
that right there would be enough for us to see right now. I mean, you don't, where's that the auditor? And when we have an auditor, we also have a computer. And the computer, we print out something and it will give us the budget even though we don't have the individual bill. I don't really need to see the bill. I just need to see where the money's going, the check's being written to.
But we have a copy of the fire district's checks. We have that.
That's how much the checks are, but how much they started with, how much they ended with, we don't know.
I don't disagree with that. However,
It's a balance.
some members ask the fire company for information with respect to the fire company
All
between
including the mutual fund account?
when you got the petition and today. Nobody asked the board of fire commissioners for this information until tonight.
Well, no, I believe there's
I could get information.
Nobody thought, well,
No, that's,
I spoke with Mr. Gretz on Saturday morning by phone with Chief Williams. So I did ask questions.
for this information, bill list, or the bank statements?
Banks, referencing the bank accounts.
I gave him what I had available.
Right.
Okay.
I provided you with whatever.
Right.
you had.
And we have
There were
that.
approximations.
But the bank account, yeah, bank statements and so forth, I understand that. If that had been asked for, would have called up the accountant and said, you have the bank statements, we need them.
But see, you know.
Or go to the bank and say, give us a printout. I don't know what they charge for it, but give us a printout, give us copies, whatever it is.
What I don't
But the
understand.
timing is a little bit off.
What
Did you have a question?
Why this information, why would, you wouldn't know that we wanted this information? We're having a hearing about dissolving the fire
But
district.
everybody's mind is on fire company and not on the district. They believe the district and the fire company are all in one, and they're not. And you have taken the same stand.
No, I have not. I do not
Excuse
believe
me,
the
ma'am,
district
yes,
and
you
fire
have.
company. I've been asking.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
I do not. I.
Okay. Any other council
I
questions?
have one question.
I have a
John?
lot more questions.
Walt, the records that we got, the treasurer's report, which I thank you.
I gave you
We
as
have.
much as I
Right.
could
Yeah,
in a short
which is
period of
great.
time.
That represents, it begins in May of 2010 and runs through April, or current
Well,
one.
Well, it's spotty.
stagger stuff, but that's what was available.
Okay. Those are very few checks. Those are all the
I
checks
can
that
show
are.
it, we can get you whatever, nobody ever asked me for this
Which is fine.
information, like Mr. McGill
No,
said.
I'm not
Nobody's
suggesting-
ever- In 2 weeks, nobody has approached me other than Mr. Diver last, when he was talking to Casey.
And I spoke-
And you called me and you said you had your information.
I had asked for it from Casey. And this
That's
is what
the
we got.
that's the only
But Walt,
information I would ask
But
for.
Walt, you're not hearing me. I'm not criticizing you. What I'm trying to make a point. The point is that these, because until just now, I didn't understand that these are the sum total of all the checks that the fire commission.
But yeah, it's not a total, it's just a monthly type thing.
Right, so, okay. Well, it seems to me to be pretty straightforward then.
But you don't have January,
But it doesn't add up. The weird thing is that it doesn't add up to the budget.
Yeah, the one thing I was trying to figure out, I'm just looking at it quickly,
It's a little spotty.
the balance seems to be a lot of times around $1,900 to $2,000. Your budget is to raise $371,000 from taxes. $2,000. You're spending about $16,000 a month. 16,000 times 12 is 190,000. The $2,000 budget, that's 195,000. You're raising $371 from taxes. Based upon this bank account, where's $180,000? I'm assuming there's at least one other bank account, plus the mutual fund LoSEP account, plus the $76,000 capital account, all of which are on your audit. So there's multiple other accounts besides the one we sold here. This one runs effectively what looks like about a $2,000 balance, and you put, when I say AT&T, AT&T's a credit, maybe you own stock or something. There's a lot of credits here, CAMI, fire apparatus credit, but some of these also show negative balance till money's put in. sometimes the debits and credits don't fully, this is Wachovia transfer, so there's at least a Wachovia account somewhere which says money transfers. So I guess here's funds transfer, 20,000. Here's another funds transfer, Wachovia. So there's another account with money in it. I think the answer is, what we need to know is, if tomorrow you picked the fire district up and shook it and found every coin, how much money do you have in the bank? It's not $2,000, I'm pretty sure about that.
Are you asking the question, what is our daily, the balance today?
What does the fire district have on hand?
Just 1 second, if I could just ask this question. Are you asking what our balance is in the account today? Or are you asking how much money do we have, let's say, prior to January 1 of 2011? In other words, what surplus are we carrying into 2011? Because what we have in the account today is not necessarily what money we have available, because we've encumbered some of that money.
I understand.
Fire district has.
I understand, but my point is, you get, and the CFO may know this, you get tax dollars quarterly, monthly, money to be put quarterly, you get quarterly money. So there's some amount of money that comes in, so it's $90,000 a quarter. You show in a quarter, 3 months, $48,000 you're spending. And I didn't see the $65,000 check, the large check that's written, the fire company, which must have been another quarter. Most of these are rather small expenditures to get to $401,000. So, and there must be a different account, because I don't think I saw a lease payment in those checks, which is a big, really significant check. There's some other account that other money's being paid out of. So when you get spotty information that doesn't show what your budget clearly shows is being expended, the next question asks themselves is, well, what's in the other account that you're not showing me the balance of, when you're showing me an account that rolls up and down around $2,000 balance a month? Probably, and you may have it in a cash management account where you're getting interest something else. I know Wachovia, you showed an income of $1,000 1 year in interest and $600 the next year. Well, that money, when we're done, if we're done dissolving, the borough gets all that money. So it'd be nice if we knew the total assets and the total liabilities, and no more show. I mean, this part here, this is the kindest anyone's going to be. GCA is going to be much more probing, and they're going to know where every dollar's including what's in the little box under your desk in the petty cash drawer where you got around and buy donuts or something. I mean, they're going to know everything. So opaqueness is not going to help in this process, and convince the council not to tell us, because based on what you're giving us, I would never give my workers to my accountant without a copy.
Exactly.
And I can't believe you don't have a copy of your bank statements.
You're receiving $92,700 a quarter based on a taxing of $372,000 approximately. So if there's $92,700 coming in each and every quarter through taxation, then that should be reflected in expense somewhere.
In some account.
It goes into a mutual fund, not a mutual fund, but a money market account. And the transfers that you were referring to are the monies we transfer from that into the checking account. The $2,000 account every month that you see on the balance is in the checking account, not in the monies coming in.
Right, but based on what you've given us, we would never know if the account that you transfer the $20,000 has 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. We would never know based on what you've given us what the running daily balance is on that account, because you didn't give it to us. We're just asking what the running daily balance on your Wachovia money management account.
But nobody requested it.
Well, why did you give us this to show $2,000 if?
Well, because that's what was asked of us, me.
I didn't make the specific request, but I think the idea is we're looking at assets and liabilities and what happens if we dissolve the fire company. And that's after we pay all the bills, district. What's left over, once the dissolution's over, how much surplus goes to the town, and then how do we use that money to meet future equipment needs, $47,000, the other things, and those are things we gotta look at.
Take a look at the budget. Take a look at the budget. You're gonna see restricted balance and unrestricted balance. That's the money that the district has available.
Yeah, but I looked at the audit, and the budget and the audit numbers don't seem to be the same numbers. There's a capital fund of $76,000 that's in the budget And that's in the audit, but not in the budget, and no one's told me what's the $76,000 for.
The reason why is because you're looking at the 2009 audit, it's 2011 budget.
I understand, but what happens to $76,000? That was in a capital account.
I do want to point out that the audit also indicates.
You have no capital account, even though the audit says you have a $76,000 capital account.
I do want to point out that the audit also does indicate that there are some internal control problems as far as the finances are concerned. But I would like to know, with regards to maintenance, the maintenance line has increased pretty dramatically after we even purchased 2 new vehicles. And, you know, our town has 2 fleets, and we pay around $50,000 in maintenance because we have very old vehicles. The police can tell you about how old the police vehicles are, except for one. And the public works needs to be, the fleet needs to be, we're looking at getting a wish list together for everybody's fleet. Now my question is, why is the maintenance going up when we got two relatively new vehicles?
Because how do you put a number on something that breaks down that you don't even know is going to break down?
Well, my understanding from reading the articles, you base it on prior years, but we don't know what was spent because.
What do you mean we don't know? We do it through.
We don't know what was spent in prior years on each maintenance line. That's what I asked when I was doing the budget in 2009. I asked you for line items, what you spent last year.
You didn't ask for the purchase orders, you asked for line items.
I asked for your maintenance line items, and I also asked for your maintenance books on each vehicle. Okay, now, let's see here. On the $650,000 pumper, you advertised it for $530, and on the most recent purchase, it was advertised for what, $530, right? And it was purchased for
$560, I believe.
$560. It was
I
purchased.
don't have the paperwork in front of me.
It was purchased for $641. And how is that you advertise it for when it costs a lot more? You advertise it to the public.
It was not to exceed.
$530.
No.
Mr. McGill.
The apparatus was a set number, and then the financing had to be included, and the payoff over 10 years on the lease purchase made up the difference.
But it cost the taxpayers $641, but you're legally allowed to say it's $560.
Yeah.
Okay. My question. All right. Now, the paper had that the payment was $64,121, and it was payable over 7 years. That was a typo.
The next 7 years, it'll be paid off.
In the next 7 years, it'll be paid off.
That's the newest one.
And but
That's the newest one.
the newest one will be paid off in 7 years.
Yes.
Okay. We
With this
made
year's
3
pay-
payments on it already.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And now you got a 1 bid for that, right?
We had only 1 bid, correct? We sent that to 3 vendors.
And you sent it out to 3 vendors, but you accepted. Why did you accept only 1 bid for that?
The district determined today that nobody else wanted to bid it, and there was no bids come back in because there was things that they claimed that they couldn't bid on.
Because you wrote the bid specs to eliminate competitive bidding?
No, they did not write the bid spec.
Now, in the paper, you also indicated that you're going that you have an old rescue utility truck, a Chief's SUV, and also the ladder truck. They're all over 20 years old.
That's correct.
And are you proposing to put those out to bid as well and put them on
If
to
the day
vote?
comes, yes.
Pardon me?
If the day comes to replace them, yes.
So
They would
then,
have to go out to bid, and they would first have to have the money to do it with.
okay, and the
And
ladder
that has
truck.
to be done on a referendum.
Okay, and the ladder truck. How much did you purchase the last ladder truck for? It was used, right?
We didn't purchase a lot of trucks.
Well, I mean, how much did the company? I'm sorry. Remember?
I don't have that information from me, sorry. I didn't know
And,
you answered that particular question.
So there's several utility trucks. And when do you think you're gonna have that election? When you have it? Do you have it in December? You're not gonna have it on November,
We're not
second
gonna have
Tuesday in
it, we're not
November.
gonna have anything this year, I'll tell you that right now. We might not have any anymore, so it doesn't matter at this point. Whether we own it or don't own it.
Okay. Now, Mr. Gratz, Commissioner Gratz, have you, anyone in your family, your friends, have you, or anybody in the company accepted a commission on any vehicle or equipment?
No, ma'am.
Right? Okay. And